We got some great trade deals coming into play, making SPY fly past that 580 level. Let's talk about news today, stocks, everything that you guys need to know for the week, and some supports and resistance and some plays that you guys can be making off of these big moves. Let's get started. To start, we didn't even know that US and China was going to make trade deals for the first trade deals. With that being said, China and the US are dropping their tariffs to 10%. But also keep in mind that we still have that 20% tariffs from the FENT. So in total, our tariffs for China will be 30%, and the China tariffs are going to be 10%. And that is looking great for the stock market overall. And we want to see China open up to more US goods and kind of share market value basically in general. And the US's main goal is to make the trade deficit more balanced. And honestly, I mean, that's what we have been seeing. But it's only a 90-day pause. But with that being said, by asking, they said that, if everything works out, talks are still good. We can make some better deals in the future. But with that being said, keep in mind it is only a 90-day pause. We might get some bad data for the previous tariffs, but this 90-day pause can be good for the stock market overall with crypto, SPY, and just overall stocks in general. I just made the ultimate trading guide. I put everything that I've learned to become profitable in the stock market. You can use this for your long-term trades, short-term trades, day trades, anything that you guys do. This is going to work out. And I call it the long-term because I give you guys 40 free stocks to trade for your long-term, and I explain why. So go check it out. Link in the description below. And thanks. With that being said, we are also seeing pharmaceutical stocks tumble because Trump is planning to cut the U.S. drug prices, and he promised up to 80%. So that is kind of insane. So keep your pharma stocks in your radar because they can be dropping because of the price drops. But with that being said, on Tuesday, keep in mind that the inflation data will be big. And if it kind of takes a hit, we're going to see the stock market take a hit too. So keep that data on your mind. And for some earnings, we got Rigetti. Some other ones, main ones that I'm kind of pumped for is Alibaba, Walmart, and Home Depot. With that being said, these ones can also show consumer sentiment, how much people are spending and stuff like that. So keep that in mind for earnings. You guys can screenshot this list if you guys want. But let's get to some supports and resistance and how to play what is going on. So first off with the SPY, we broke past that 580. So for today, watch that 580 level. If we start selling off, you might see some selling pressure filling the gaps downwards. But honestly, we might see it go upwards even more. So next levels to look at is that 582, 585, 586, and then 590. 590 is going to be key. If we can break above that, we have room to move back up to the 600 level. We haven't seen SPY to the 600 level in a minute. But honestly, man, if this news is great, and honestly, there's no more bad news, we might even see SPY at 600 by the end of this week. So keep that in mind. But if we do start selling off, look at 580, 578, 576.5, 575, and then all the way down to that 572 and 570 level to the downside. And we also have gaps to fill all the way down to the 565. So keep that in mind while trading. Please don't be married to one direction. Kind of go with the momentum. And if you guys see bad news, just play it based on the news and just be very updated and take your time with this market because we are pretty high with the SPY and we can fall a decent amount. Next one we're going to be looking at is some plays with Apple because I personally had some Apple and Nvidia calls and they are printing. With that being said, to the upside, look at that 212. We can break above that 212. Look at 215, 218, 220, and then all the way up to that 225. Honestly, I'm going to hold my calls a little bit more. I was planning on selling them, but honestly, it's time to grow some balls. And honestly, if I start seeing some big selling pressure, some big volume and stuff like that, I'm going to sell my calls, of course. But with that being said, I might just hold it for a couple more days and just see how the market reacts. I will be updating you guys on that if you guys are kind of interested. I honestly think the market can keep on shooting up, but also we do have a big level to go downwards to, just this big gap to fill all the way down, back down to the 200 level. So with that being said, just have your patience with this one. Don't play a call right away unless you see some good momentum and some good volume. And I do recommend just having your patience with playing some short-term trades, especially if you're a day trader, swing trader. And no, I mean, there's no point to load up to your long-term right now. Stocks are too high. With that being said, to the downside, look at 211, 209, 206, 204, and that 200 level downwards. And then if it breaks below that 200, look at 198.5. With that being said, man, there is going to be more opportunities because honestly, if things don't go well within this 90-day range, like 90 days pass and we get the tariffs back on and we don't make any progress, basically, you can see the market sell off again. So just have your patience with the market, watch news, be updated, and honestly, you can make a decent amount of money. Next one is NVIDIA. We were all the way down to 116. Now we're up at 122. We're getting some decent news too. They can sell their H20 chip, but I mean, selling the H20 chip before, they still had the tariffs, but now with the tariff relief, is going to make their revenue look a little bit better. With that being said, to the upside, look at 123.5, 125, 126.5, and all the way up to that 130 level. To the downside, look at 122. 120 is going to be key. If we break below that, look at 119.5, 117.8, and then 116.3, all the way down to where we were Friday. And then past that, look at 115 and 110 for NVIDIA. Next is going to be Palantir, because Palantir is a great stock. Honestly, it still holds up pretty strong even with the tariffs. And honestly, man, their deals is just insane. And honestly, the government needs them at this point, you know. But with that being said, to the upside, look at 123.5, 125, and all the way up to that 130 level for Palantir. If you can break above that, look at 131.5, 135, and then 140. To the downside, look at 121.5. 120 is going to be key. 118.5, 116, 115, and then all the way down to that 110 to 107 level for Palantir. But honestly, Palantir is a decent stock to hold, especially for your long term. I do recommend having your patience with Palantir a little bit, but honestly, man, people's price targets is honestly insane. People are saying 150, 200, and some people are even saying 300 by the end of the year, which is insane. Next one is going to be Tesla. I told you guys, I think in yesterday's video, to watch that 300 level, but with this great news, we bounced, we went way past that. But honestly, still look at that 300 level if we do start selling off. But Tesla's looking pretty great. We do got good news with Elon Musk putting more time in his company basically, rather than the government. With that being said, to the upside, look at 330, 335, 340, and 350. Honestly, look at this stock. If we start seeing some upward momentum at a market open, honestly, just play it upwards, just depending on how it goes. Because honestly, man, the past couple of days has been looking pretty bright for Tesla in the upward trend. So you guys can make a decent amount of money. But if you do start seeing some selling pressure going to the downside, you can also play it to the downside too. 318, 312, 310, 305 in that 300 level. And if we bounce below that 300 level, look at 295 and 290 for Tesla. But honestly, Tesla's one to be have your patience on and just see if it's running. If it's running up or down, you can make a decent amount of money either way. Next one that we're going to be talking about is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is moving pretty solid. Bitcoin is moving pretty solid, but honestly, we did make a break upwards past that 105. So I do recommend looking at that $105,000 level and then just see how it reacts. With that being said, no matter if it goes up or down, you can play it both ways. And I do recommend looking at MSTR for some great plays. And MSTR is at 430 right now, almost 430, but watch that 430 level. If you can break above that, look at 435, 440, 450, and 460. To the downside, if we start selling off, 425, 420, 410, and all the way down to that 400 level if Bitcoin does start selling off. But honestly, with the good certainty in the market, I think Bitcoin can maybe get a little bit more pump into it. With that being said, if we look at the options, this isn't the current prices no more, of course, but let's just say if we were still trading at the price that we were at before, honestly, man, the in the money plays are around $3,000. And if we go over to IBIT, it's an ETF that moves with Bitcoin, and it's literally like $300 for in the money plays. And if we go over here and look at IBIT right now, we are trading at around 60 bucks. But no matter what Bitcoin goes, if it goes upwards or downwards, you can play a call or a put depending on how Bitcoin moves. So I do recommend looking at IBIT if you guys do want to get into the crypto sector, and if you do see Bitcoin still pumping. Another one is indeed Coinbase, and Coinbase is a little bit cheaper too, but not as cheap. It's like 1,500 for in the money plays. So it is kind of half of what MSTR is, and then IBIT is just way cheaper, just a lower risk, honestly, if you want to trade some stocks. But with that being said, thanks for watching the video. Smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Let's hope that we get a great market move today. Honestly, let's hope that we keep on going to the upward side. But honestly, don't just trade based on the news. Trade based on the market too, and just be updated with the news as it comes along, because honestly, things can change. This is great news for the stock market, but honestly, man, just please have your patience, man. Honestly, man, this can really move the stock market up. But honestly, depending on how data comes out and how people react to it is really going to move the market too. So just please just be updated, honestly. We make daily videos every single day to kind of explain a little bit more and what all is going on day by day. I'm a day trader myself, but I also make swing trades and also got a long-term portfolio. So I try to update you guys on literally everything: long-term, short-term, day trades, supports and resistance, and everything like that.